Oh, you tuned in to Gorilla Cross Radio.
Broadcasting live from downtown Las Vegas, you're tuned in to Gorilla Cross Radio.
Yo, 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 yo. What's going on, everybody? It's your man, MP. Welcome to the final countdown. We are live from Gorilla Cross Studios in downtown Las Vegas. Give us a shout out. We'd love to hear from you. The number is 702-608-3259. And always sitting across from me, chopping it up, my guy, Jay Long. What's going on?
Man, what's happening here?
Dude,
what isn't happening right now?
Everything. It's the 180 of why we love sports. It's the craziness of sports. But you know what?
Yeah.
That's all right. That's why they got us.
It's like sports political season because they just had a big information dump over the last 24, 48 hours. You know, like our paid civil workers do a lot, where they just dump information out there and hope people don't see it. Yeah. Man, it's crazy what's going on right now.
But it's Thursday, not Friday. They missed it by one day. They're supposed to put it out there on Friday when no one's looking for it.
Friday at 5 when everyone's driving home.
Right, yeah, that's when you're supposed to slip it in. But no, a lot of firings out there. We're going to talk a lot. I was going to say a little about Astrogate and the fallout from that, because Lord knows that there's been some fallouts that have affected 3 different teams up to this point.
Right.
Maybe more. We don't know. But you know what? We had some great things that happened at the beginning of the week. We have a new national championship in NCAA. So let's do what we do right now with a little barbershop chop. Barbershop chop. Yeah, but we're not going to talk about any of that right now. We're going to talk about what happened here in Las Vegas as we look at the screen inside the Gorilla Cross Studios as we watch the Vegas Golden Knights, and we see a new coach. Wait, there's a new coach? That could only mean one thing.
That's not the same ball-headed guy. That's a different ball-headed guy.
That the old coach was fired.
Yeah.
That's right. After 2.5 seasons, Gerard Gallant,
2.5 seasons of
excellent.
decent hockey play. The coach of the Vegas Golden Knights is out.
Yeah, imagine that. Something got knee-jerky and fickle in Las Vegas, and we do know how the city can turn on you fast, but the Vegas Knights, I'm not saying they turned on him, but they have made a new decision to go with a new coach. And what is his name?
Peter Dubois.
Oh, look
That's
at
how
you.
I'm going to say it anyway.
You old French-Canadian.
I have to imagine it's French. Yeah, man. I mean,
what team did he come from?
The San Jose Sharks, right? That's supposed to be... Well, that's how we've played it off to all the brand new hockey fans out there. We hate the Sharks more than we hate the Kings for some reason. Geography, I guess. I don't know. But, the dreaded Sharks, we hired their coach, who was also in the middle of a pretty good run.
Yeah.
I mean, the Sharks have made the playoffs 4 straight years under this guy. They hit a rough patch. He gets fired like a month ago. VGK, of course, goes to the Stanley Cup Finals in their first year.
Right.
Second year, they get ousted by the Sharks. Third year, it's kind of been uneven, but at the time, we were just a couple points out of first place after holding first place for a number of weeks as far as points go. Gerard Gallant was named he was going to coach the Pacific Division, the Western Division in the playoff or the All-Star game coming up in like just a few days.
Right.
And Bill Foley and company said, "Yeah, just kidding, bro."
Scoot along.
Yeah,
Scoot along with that.
You're going to have to go somewhere. You ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. And then you're like, hey, this is why I love sports thinking, right? Hey, that guy who just got fired for doing a poor job over there, let's hire him to replace our own poor guy. And I think this guy can do better than what the other. Hey, man, it's crazy. Sports is wild, man.
You know what? But that sports is great. Yes, it is. But hockey, they will recycle a coach like bottles and cans in Detroit. They will just take it like, whoa. So what, Hitchcock? So what? You just got fired last season. Come on over here and coach for me.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Come over here, French name coach.
I love it.
Know that you just got fired.
I love it, man. So, it's kind of crazy because brand new hockey fans or fans who have just been, fans for a couple years now, they're losing their minds online. They're like, Coach Gallant is literally the greatest coach in Vegas Knights history. And Peter Dubois is obviously the second greatest coach in VGK history. But they don't know what to do. And we were talking before the show, what is going to be the fallout when they have to get rid of guys like Marc-Andre Fleury, when they have to trade away the underperforming William Carlson, when they have to get rid of these guys that these fans have grown so attached to in just a short amount of time? What's going to happen? I mean, we're going to put some of these fans on suicide watch.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody find that little white dog they keep parading out as a mascot for the for the team, and y'all make sure he stays in the house, so no coyotes pick him up and run off with him.
Yeah. Oh, that actually play on words there,
There you
coyote.
go.
I like that. I like that.
You
That's
like
what
that.
you did there. But no, they're going to lose their mind. They're going to flip their boop.
Yep.
And because that's all they know. I mean,
yeah.
the worst thing, best thing that could have ever happened to this team is coming out of the gate, and we talk about it, I'm sure, all the shows, just to the extent of stop it.
Yeah.
The Knights won the first season. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals, not just to the championship, Western Conference. They made it to the Stanley Cup.
Impossibly high mark.
Yeah.
And I think they're a victim of their own success here because
they are.
You come straight out the gate, and it was a rousing story. And we were all caught up into it. I mean, we sat at how many places, and oh my God, but because of the tragedies that happened in Vegas and it galvanized the city and the team, and that's all great, man. But that bar is still way up here. So even a first or second round playoff exit like we had last season looks like a failure, like a complete failure. And Bill Foley sees that, and he sees how much people love this team, and he wants to give them some success. And now Bill Foley is cashed in. He's pushed in the chips as far as the front office for this team is concerned, because if this doesn't work out with Peter DeBoer, with the Sharks' old head coach, and it all flames out, you got to imagine that entire front office is gone. Gary Bubolz, all those guys, they're gone, and it's going to be a regime change because Bill Foley is not trying to play for second place. He's a winner, and he wants to build a winner, and that's what he promised the city. We're going to build a winner. We're going to stay winners every year.
Let's get realistic, though. Had the team done what the expectation, I'm going to say the real expectations would have been that first season, wouldn't Gallant still be the coach? I mean, was he just a sacrificial lamb coming out the gate? Were they just like, all right, this is just going to be the guy that's just going to get us into it, and we really don't have expectations for doing anything?
Yep.
And then he just had this team, like you said, galvanized, and they just went on to win something, put them on cruise control. A bunch of middle-of-the-road guys. Let's be honest about it, because if we look at what's happening this season, none of them are just, putting the puck in the net. Their defense is horrendous. So now all of a sudden they're living up to their expectations, and now he's getting fired. I mean, that's like coming to a job first year and they say, you know what, we're only looking for a 30% increase in the territory. And then you hit that at 100%. Then the next year you hit it for 50, and they're like, hey, man, you're on the hot seat.
You still went down 50%. You still lost 50%. And that's how you have to view it. And that's how
oh, my God.
where sports and politics and all that stuff kind of intertwine is that, it's just the nature of the beast, man. I mean, you look at the Eagles and, you look at the NFL and the NBA coaching changes. I mean, Ty Lue, who wins the championship with the
can't get a job.
He can't find a job, man.
Yeah.
He can't get hired nowhere.
Yeah.
Success is, sports and everything else is what have you done for me lately?
Yeah. Andy Reid. I mean, look at the history of Andy Reid. Was he horrible in Philadelphia?
No.
Yeah, but he had to go. He had to go.
He had to go.
He couldn't get him over the hump, and then all of a sudden now, he has the you know what? Because I'm not going to sit here and say, because we never at once said that Donovan McNabb was a great football player. But we are sitting here and saying that Mahomes is a great football player. There's a little bit be Andy Reid. I know that's another story. I'm just spitballing.
Hey, man. Hey, Phil
You could
Jackson has how many rings?
Yeah.
Based on some of the greatest players of all time. We laugh all the time. Steve Kerr just rolls the ball out to his guys at Golden State.
As we found out, whoa, look at him. I just had to see his eye contact every time we talk about it. But he's a realist. Quan is a realist. He knows how this game works.
Hey, man, there you go.
He knows about it.
Speaking of how the game works, right? Do we need to go here with the Houston Astros?
Oh,
do we need to talk about this? We got to talk about this, right?
Yeah,
obviously
it's a 2-point thing because we're going to give Mark Berg's going to catch on at the end to talk about the legalities of all this stuff. But let's just talk about the common sense. Hit him up, sir. I'm going to roll the ball out to you on this one.
The common sense of this, people are wondering what should be done. One half saying, let them keep the championship. Another half, obviously, a lot of LA-based sports writers and East Coast writers are saying vacate the title. That's the only fair thing for the Astros to do. They were caught cheating. And it's not that they were caught cheating. We said this earlier, right? It's not that they were caught cheating. It's the manner and the level at which they went to cheat.
Yeah.
Setting up multiple times video cameras in the center field. Even when your head coach comes in there, the guy who's supposed to be running the show goes in there, disables the equipment. You bring another guy in there to hook it all back up because you want to cheat so bad. You have to do this to win. And I'm an Astros fan, and it makes me sick to know that my team did.
Interesting.
Now, teams do this. They've done it from the beginning of sports.
Right.
Name a team. They've always had people signaling from the dugout. You hear whistles, you hear claps, you hear, whatever. Guys have filed baseballs down.
Tar on the bat.
Pine tar on the caps, on the, gloves and the bats and everything else. Guys have always tried to find a competitive edge. We don't even get into the steroid era of baseball where so many fans grew up. This new generation of fans grew up in a steroid era where guys were hitting 70 home runs. Guys who were supposed to be over the hill and declining were hitting 70 home runs a season. So now you have this team that did all this. I'm a fan, and I think 100% they should vacate that title.
Oh, preach, Jeremy Long. Preach.
They should vacate that title. Now, I'm not saying you reward it to the Dodgers because you can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Dodgers would have won even without the video camera. I can't say that. No one can say that, but you can't have that. If you hang that, if that banner's still there next year, you should be ashamed to have that banner hanging from your ceiling, knowing that you cheated to get that, man. And I'm a fan, but I want it done the right way, man. Go out there and win the right way. I don't want cheaters, As much as I wanted a title, and that title meant so much, I was watching the game with you, Game 7, when that happened, man. Almost cried in the middle of all these people. I'm a lifelong Astros fan.
You are, but when you look at this, the fact that it, at this point, now that it extends to 3 different teams, but every team is falling on the blade.
Yeah.
But the owners, and the only ownership that we really have talked about is the Mets ownership, just because of what happened today. And so what happens to the owners? They made all this money. Let's be real. The owners cashed in on all these World Series, all the swag, the shirts,
crazy.
the T-shirts. And they say all he has to do is pay, what, $5 million?
$5 million. Jim Crane, a
Did
multi-billionaire.
he just open up his little coin purse?
Yeah,
and just throw him some shekels?
Yeah, did he just toss it at him
Yeah.
you disrespectfully, there's your money.
I'm a Texas billionaire.
Like he's rich. Yeah, here's your money. But it's amazing that the owners, nothing ever seems to happen to these guys.
So they don't know anything.
They knew for decades about the steroids that were killing guys at the end, guys left and right having heart attacks and stuff like that. And these guys are so smart. And you telling me that these guys who have built these empires of billions of dollars outside of sports go into an organization and they don't know what the hell's going on? Bull crap. You meet a billionaire, you meet a guy who knows everything about anything that's going on in his company.
And all of them.
And every single time, these owners, Jim Crane, the Steinbrenner, all these guys, they all plead ignorance. Well, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was the one-armed man, right? Where does it stop with this stuff? You have a GM and a coach that get fired, and nothing's happening to the players who they happen to be investing hundreds of millions of dollars in. Well, you're not going to do anything with my investments. This is the old white billionaire club. They're looking around going, you're not going to do anything with my investments.
Right, the new guys.
The coach, I can hire a new coach. I can hire a new GM. I was probably going to fire them anyway. The coaching lifespan isn't that long in professional sports for any certain team. I can find another one to come in here. Now the news breaks today, or allegedly, things have been alleged on Twitter that Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, naming names now, that they have electric monitors underneath their clothes, giving them electric pulses to let them know when certain pitches were coming their way. Even Trevor Bauer, who is an active major league player, has got on there and said, I've heard the same thing from multiple sources.
Yeah, he just broke and said how it was just crap, how they were just a garbage team.
Right now, it's only Mike Fears and Trevor Bauer are the only two active players
Hawk.
really talking about.
I'm sure Ethan Hawke had to be involved in something like this.
Yeah. But all these players are now saying, okay, we've heard it for years that guys were wearing stuff under there. If that's the case, man, if MLB does not open a second investigation based on that alone, it was a huge cover-up. If they do and they find out that's true, they 100% it cannot be on the Astros. You have to strip them of that title. You have to give them something harsh. You're talking about draft picks for years. You're talking international money that they use to sign international players.
Sure.
You take that away. You got to give them the old, what was it, the North Texas team, the SMU death knell in NCAA. You got to do something like that. You're doing
some Black Sox stuff over there. 19.
You got to do something like that because you have to. It has to be put in place. Like, if we find this again, the next team is going to get it even worse. Whether it's the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, or the Minnesota Twins, it doesn't matter. Something's got to be done because this is stupidity at the highest level.
Let me ask you this here, and you're listening to the Final Countdown, and this is the extended version, talking a little Astro world here, and that's okay. We'll have Travis Scott on soon, I'm sure. You'll chime in. But it was just funny that one of the bigger Astro fans out there, Mr. Travis Scott, when you look at this, let me look at my watch real quick because I don't have a calendar on it. We're almost at the end of January. You know what starts in several weeks away. It's spring training.
Yeah.
And the timing, man, the timing kind of sucks. When we look at it from that standpoint, I don't feel comfortable that they're really going to have another investigation. I think they're going to say they've done an investigation, maybe hand out some fines, ask players, do their inquiry, and then from there.
Because what does it do? It opens up everything.
Yeah.
Because then the guys who get punished are going to say, whoa, we did much worse when I played for XYZ, or the Dodgers did this, or the Yankees were doing this. Then you start getting into to more and more stuff.
Didn't this come out because somebody, like a former player, had said something?
Mike Fires.
So I feel like if more players keep saying stuff, then they'll be forced to investigate more.
Yeah, today, when people start dropping specific names, Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, these guys were doing this stuff. You're talking about MVPs.
Right.
MVPs and MVP candidates.
All-stars. Superstars.
If that's true, and that's the year that Jose Altuve won the MVP, and that's true.
So you got to
strip him.
Okay.
Bregman, you got to, because what's happening? And, then these guys got to be forced to give up their rings and stuff like that, bro. All of that stuff.
Well, with the money that we're talking about, now we're talking about congressional inquiries. I mean, because this.
Oh, yeah. Lawyers right now are licking their. I bet you anything. Marcus Berg. Yeah. When we call him later, he's gonna be like, "I'm gonna find a way
to get on.
We're gonna find a way. I'm gonna consult with Marcus. We're gonna make money over this.
We have somewhere we're gonna get some money, and money gonna be made.
And that's the bottom line.
It is. I mean, it really is. It's money.
Money.
Yeah.
How many hundreds of millions of dollars did the Astros make off of that championship?
Hundreds of millions. We're talking about a team that's in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
no
we're
income tax.
Yeah, I think we're tilting a little higher over there with the amount of money that we're looking at from players, from owners.
Dude, okay, so you look at the NFL, it's like, okay, well, I mean, you can't do that. I mean, Jim Crane's an owner, and he's a billionaire. What can you possibly do? There was hints, not even they had an investigation, an internal. Nothing came to trial with Jerry Richardson, right, for the Carolina Panthers.
Yes,
the old owner. Sexual misconduct or sexual harassment or whatever, they made him sell the team.
Right.
You cannot be an owner anymore. And if all this is happening and all of it's true, it's either all true or none of it's true. And right now, it all points to it's all true.
Where there's smoke.
Jim Crane, you got to give up the ownership.
And then going back with the money thing for a Vegas standpoint, how many people put money?
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It's
How many people
That's wild.
put money
People
on
lost money because they cheated. They thought they
Millions
were betting
of dollars.
fair.
Millions of
and
dollars.
they got cheated out of their money. And some of these people are, 9 to 5 people putting $1,000 down, or maybe their house, and they lost their whole family.
Right. Can you come back and claim that I won?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you see the kind of legal stuff you start opening. We'll talk to Marcus a little bit later on and all this. So I'll shut up. I'll get off my soapbox. But it just opens up so much because where does it end?
Yeah, no, it's
Where
a long
does it
line.
end? And I made a joke earlier, before the start of the show, and I said, okay, well, I mean, if we got to do this, then we got to go back to before integration in baseball, because how can you really have a championship when only half the population gets to play the game? Oh, only the Honkies get to play, and only they're named champion. Come on, man.
It ain't the same.
Man.
It ain't the same. It ain't the same. Woo! Drink some of that water, man. Let me get you.
You talk for a while now. I'm so pissed. This makes me sick, man. It's so pissed me off.
Oh, don't be pissed off. Do not be pissed off. Hey, and as we said, we had some good stuff that happened this week. We're probably just going to glean over this, and that is that we have a new national champion when it comes to the NCAA, and it is no longer the Clemson University, but the LSU Tigers. Tigers versus Tigers. LSU was able to put that beat down on. It was a close game for the first half, and then all of a sudden, LSU started putting their will, and that Coach O defense came up to show what they were all about. And the offense came alive, and what was a boring game became more boring at halftime. But I am happy to see a new team in national championship. It's not LSU. I mean, it's not Alabama. It's not Clemson. It's not Ohio State.
Right.
And Coach O has been catching some heat for a while, saying that he's not a good coach, that he's lacking here, he's lacking there. But as we said earlier, with a lot of things, those two worlds came together when he had the perfect offense with the perfect defense.
Sure.
And, throw in a little sprinkle sauce, some special teams. And they're able to pull it out and go undefeated. So hats off to them.
Yeah.
And we have some crazy things to talk about further about LSU and the locker room scenarios that, craziness happens in locker rooms. Who knew? Who knew?
How many points did they win by?
21. Yeah. So they were they were down by 24, and they won by 21.
Yeah.
That's
nuts, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking about LSU.
Yeah, they won by 21.
No, they won by 17.
Oh, 17. Correct. You're right. 17 points.
Because
17.
somebody predicted that before the game.
Yes, you did. What were you playing? That is right. They won by 17 points. You had it down 42 to. I can't. Don't do the math. What is it? What'd you have?
I don't know. I just said 17.
Yeah, no, but you had the right score.
I mean, #Quastradamus.
Yeah, no, you had the perfect score.
Been right a lot.
But, so to come back and win by 17 points, and for you to have that out there, for you to predict it, don't know what you thought, don't know what you saw, but you should have had your ticket down at Vegas because you might not be sitting here with us right now. It could be a little intern that you hired part-time this week.
It's a sports almanac that I got from some guy in a DeLorean.
Some guy in a DeLorean dropped it off.
With the shakes. What the hell just
He's
happened?
Either 40 or 80. We can't
right.
tell.
We're not sure which version of it was going to come up. Yeah, but watch the game. Loved LSU. It's funny that for next season, I think they're picked number 9 to win it all. Yeah, no respect whatsoever.
Well, Joe Burrow's gone, right?
Well, damn, really?
Joe Burrow's gone.
Okay.
Yeah,
that was it.
The NFL.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, you
I
talk
get
about
it. I get it.
they had a very stacked team, and they're losing a number of key players.
Yeah.
Their safety, their big-time safety.
They have Michigan number 14.
Yeah, Michigan.
See, there, I knew that was going
Just like Notre Dame. Where's Notre Dame on there?
Number 9.
Yeah, Notre Dame. Every preseason, Notre Dame is in the top 10, and every year you're like,
oh crap! Yeah.
It takes till the 4th game, and then they're knocked out. I mean, like, but this year this is going to be the squad that changes.
Well, they lose to a Georgia Tech accidentally.
It's not 1980 anymore.
Yeah.
Man. People don't care.
Oh my God,
Notre Dame.
Man, let's go ahead and take a quick break. Catch something to drink, and when we come back,
I'm gonna start.
We're gonna do a little say what. It's the final countdown. Yeah, number 9.
Yo, you tuned in to Gorilla Cross Radio.
UFC is back in Las Vegas on Saturday, January 18th with the biggest stars in MMA. Former 2-division champion Conor McGregor makes his long-awaited return to the UFC after more than a year away from the sport. His opponent, Donald Cowboy Cerrone, the man who holds the record for wins and finishes in the octagon and looks to add to those totals. See UFC 246 live at T-Mobile Arena, only on ESPN+. Cards subject to change.
Broadcasting live from downtown Las Vegas, you're tuned in to Gorilla Cross Radio.
MP, Jeremy Long, and the fine, beautiful Gorilla Cross Studios, downtown Las Vegas, chopping it up. Our man Quan the 5'9", laying the beats and chiming in with some great information there. Quastradamus. Whoa, got it right on the first try. Man, put that on a T-shirt. So I'm looking here for next season and the rankings. They have Clemson number 1, Ohio State number 2, Alabama number 3, LSU number 4, Georgia number 5, Oregon number 6, Oklahoma, really? Number 7, Penn State number 8, Florida number 9. I was wrong. Excuse me. Auburn number 10, Notre Dame number 11.
That was somewhere around there.
Oklahoma State number 12, Texas A&M 13, Texas number 14,
Nope.
Michigan number 15,
Nope.
Wisconsin, number 16. That's a hell of a drop. North Carolina in the mix at number 17. Minnesota, number 18. They had a great season this year. We got a lot of seniors coming back. So Southern California, that's right. USC, number 19. And then UCF, number 20. Cincinnati, 21. Utah, number 22. 23, Iowa State. 24, Iowa. And then last but not least, those rough dogs at 8-5, but coming in at number 25, Arizona State. With the coach.
Who does these are sports writers, right? Coaches and sports writers vote on this stuff? Okay, yeah. The sports writers want Texas to be back so bad.
Put every damn team in the state, didn't they?
Yeah, they just, oh, my God, man. I'm sorry. They're not there.
Well, you know what? Well, for me, you actually had a great point when it came to LSU. But they didn't fall far from the tree, through the branches there. But I said they came in
a championship for teams at that level. It's like Alabama. A championship does so much for recruiting. Those 5-star, those blue chip
that were on the fence.
Players. That were on the fence. Because, winning cures all, right? Ed Oregon is not a good coach. Well, he's got a championship now. It doesn't matter that he had a blue chip prospect fall into his lap in Joe Burrow, who should have started at Ohio State before he transferred, and he's a great generational talent as far as college is concerned. But winning cures all, man. I'm sorry, I'm still disappointed by the Astros. But yeah, the writers want Texas so bad to be that team that comes back, and this was supposed to be the year. In fact, last year I think was supposed to be the year they were back, and then they're just
Hey. But you know what? You said Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they beat up Utah really bad.
They beat Utah
really
up
bad. Like they saw them at the bar spending money and they were told $5.
But against those big teams, man, Texas just they just seem to crumble under pressure, man. Those big games, Oklahoma has their number. Lincoln Riley has their number, as far as Oklahoma. But LSU, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson. Okay.
Clemson. Well, Clemson. Trevor Lawrence is coming back next year, so you see
Trevor
that
Lawrence is coming back. So
he finally tasted a loss.
Yeah, and that's good, man. We'll see how he bounces back. I think he's going to bounce back, and he's going to have another phenomenal season. And we'll see how it goes from there.
Man, I know we're getting cart before the horse, but Michigan, Jesus Christ, if they don't win next year, there has to be someone else who can do better.
They're still going to owe Jim Harbaugh $18 million.
It's okay. They can afford it.
This year, they didn't cut him this year because I think it was 20 or 22.
Yeah.
If they would have cut him this year.
Yeah. No, they got to do something different, go to a different direction. It felt good at the time. I mean, I was so ecstatic when he came onto the campus.
Bring in?
I don't know.
Who would
Did we know that the coach at Western Michigan actually could coach? I mean, he's at Minnesota now.
See, I think you kind of equate that to how the Cowboys viewed their coaching search, right?
Yeah.
You don't have time to teach a Tony Sanchez how to be a big-level coach if you're paying him that much money. You know what I'm saying? You need a guy to come in. Jim Harbaugh came from the NFL and had success at that level.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel comfortable giving this guy all this money because he's shown success. I'm not going to pluck a guy from Western Michigan and go, okay, here's $8 million a year.
You're not going to give him $8.
Do your best.
You're going to come in with a lot of clauses, with winning.
Do your best, buddy.
Because I don't know where Harbaugh, as far as his contract is concerned, he hasn't hit any of the earmarks that you're supposed to hit as a Michigan head coach. He's not beaten Michigan State on a regular basis. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say this may have been the only year that he's beat Michigan State.
Right.
He has never beat Ohio State, although he was close in 2 games, but this ain't horseshoes or hand grenades.
Right.
And he's not won the Big Ten. I mean, obviously, in order to do all those other earmarks, that'll probably get you to win in the Big Ten. You beat Ohio State, you beat Michigan State all in the same year, and he hasn't done it. We're on year 6. We're going into year 6. It hurts me when I say year 6 because I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah, if they line up someone that they really have faith in, you'll see it happen. But right now, I mean, they keep them on.
They need a quarterback.
You keep them on because who are you going to replace them with?
Yeah.
And Jim Harbaugh's got to get a quarterback in there.
He has to. I mean, his quarterback play, although, he's gotten tractor pulled at Wisconsin, got tractor pulled at Ohio State.
Yep.
But if you can score, that kind of takes some of the tractor pulling away because now we're just going score for score.
Yeah.
So if he can get that taken care of, he has. They have.
But you can't just have teams load up the box every single time and
Yeah.
dare your weak-armed quarterbacks to beat them because they just don't have it. I mean, Ohio State, they've been close. They have grit. And they got moxie. They got a lot of good. Their offensive line is good. But you got to have somebody back there that can deliver the ball.
Well, they have McCaffrey. And I don't know. They put him in situations this year. We'll see what they can do if he's the truth. He is the younger brother of McCaffrey for
Christian
the Panthers.
McCaffrey,
And so he comes from a great lineage of athletes. His grandpappy was an Olympian, so his mama was an All-American. His papa was an All-American and an All-Pro. So he's cut from a good
club. Going. You can't have the older Manning brother. What'd you do this week, man?
Yeah,
I got denied for a big.
I'm the vice president of the Coca-Cola bottling factory. Oh yeah, hell yeah.
They denied me for credit card this week.
Oh God,
I had to get a Boost mobile phone.
Oh man. So in basketball, man, I want to name a name. I want you to tell me your emotion when I say this name.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben Simmons. You know how many times we've talked about Ben Simmons more than he shot 3-pointers.
We've mentioned Ben Simmons in almost every show.
I know, and he's only attempted 4.
Now it's
5.
a battle of attrition. I got to keep mentioning Ben Simmons.
You got to keep him going.
Yeah.
Zion.
Yeah.
Have people forgotten about Zion? Have we just gone, oh, you know what? Hell, it's damn near February. If he doesn't play this year, I mean, you look at it. Did you bring him back?
Have they forgot about him like they forgot about Dre? No.
Yes.
No, he's a young guy. And it's his first year. And that's a serious knee injury. I mean, you're talking about a guy that big and that explosive, who relies on that explosion. He relies on those legs and that lower body strength. You rush him back too soon, man. You blow that ACL off for good or something else pops off on one of these guys. It's hard to get him back, man. You need him 100%. There's no reason for him to be in there other than the fact that you want to bring him along and get him minutes and stuff like that. There's no reason to rush him back.
Yeah, dude, I read an article earlier today, and the coach, and I can't remember the coach's name, but he said that Zion's not quick for a big fella. He's quick for a quick fella. You're like, oh, damn. And it's that first step, like you said, the explosion that it gets. Well, we'll be able to see that explosion come January 22nd against, if I'm not mistaken, the San Antonio Spurs.
Right.
And I don't know if that's the game you want to bring them back. I know the Spurs aren't the Spurs of old, but, maybe bring them back against the Washington.
I have a feeling they'll keep him on limited minutes.
Oh, God, yeah.
But like you said, man, he's quick. He's twitch quick, But like Derrick Rose, how many years did it take to get Derrick Rose back to any kind of resemblance?
He's balling now.
He's balling now.
Right,
but
right. He had to get his body right.
Between those MVP seasons and what he is now, man, with guys like that who rely on that quickness and that strength of going to the hole and attacking every single time, because Zion's not going to post up and hit threes, man. He's not going to change his game around like Vince Carter did once he could no longer explode to the hole like he did for so many years. He's got to attack, and if he doesn't have that strength and that quickness, it's going to be a question of what he could have been.
No, and then you actually brought up a good example for Derrick Rose, and I never really put the math of the years that he's been out and what it's taken for him to recreate himself. And he has totally went to the lab, recreated his game.
Right.
And, he's making a difference for the Detroit Pistons. Last year he played for the Timberwolves, or a year and a half ago he played for the Timberwolves, was having a great season there. So he's definitely not the Derrick Rose of old, but now he's just the new Derrick Rose. In fact, they're trying to, think of a way for him to get on the Lakers, which I don't think mathematically, the money is there, but he has done that. And you're right. Does Zion Williamson have to do something different? And at this young career, is that something that he can do, or would he even be effective? I think that's even the thing, because he's like Charles Barkley. He plays such a big man's game, but he's not as big as the people that he plays against. It's just that he's so wide, so strong, and then just that leap in ability.
Yeah.
So
and that's you're seeing this new era of big men.
Oh my God,
Embiid, and these guys, Giannis and Zion, and That's what you want, but you can't rush them back. You shouldn't even entertain it. Get them some minutes, garbage time minutes or something like that. But, I wouldn't rush them back. There's no need to.
No, I don't think there's a. So we're going to keep this conversation moving and keep it pushing. And to help us finish out this line on Astrogate, we have our legal analyst and our insider with the Legal Zone, Mr. Marcus Berg. Mark, how you doing this evening?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys? Astrogate, I like it.
Man, we're just sitting here, Jeremy being the Astros fan that he is, he's went a whole different direction with his opinion. I thought he'd come in here all garbed out with his Astros stuff, and he got his milk crate, and he's talking about grabbing down banners and rings, bro.
The best thing I saw was punishment should be should take over Chris Davis's entire remaining contract from the Orioles.
Yeah,
he's yours. Take him.
Yeah. I think you give up Alex Bregman to the Orioles, and then you take on Chris Davis, and you say, "Now deal with this."
Jesus Christ, man!
I like it.
So first of all, we appreciate you giving us, hitting us up with all the information as it comes across to you and all the firings, hirings, coaches let go. Looking at what has transpired in the last, we say 72 hours,
right.
What is your take on, well, no, you know what, that's just too vague. What the hell do you think should happen to these teams? Because once all these chips have fallen, and I don't know if you listened to the show earlier, Jeremy was saying now players are involved, saying that players knew about this whole thing. What needs to happen to the teams? What should happen to the teams, and what should happen to the players?
You look at what they did to Pete Rose. Baseball has historically been very harsh on cheaters. And, right. Pete Rose was a betting scandal, but we're talking about something that goes against the integrity of the game. And ultimately, what are you going to do? You can't replay the game, so you got to make sure this doesn't happen again. And the only way to do that is start suspending these players, start kicking them out of the league forever. There's got to be some harsh penalties coming down. I was surprised at first when I found out that they were suspending people for a year, but when all the teams started firing the managers, they're taking a harsh stance on it. I think it's good for the game if they do start to severely punish these guys. I also wonder on the back end what the managers' contracts say about getting fired and if they're going to have to pay these guys out and how much. I haven't seen any details on the contracts, but that's a concern too.
Yeah, because you mentioned the contracts and obviously the collective bargaining agreement. Is that still in play whenever you have a cheating saga like this that's breaking the way it's breaking, and now specific players are being named? How much can these players lean back on that collective bargaining agreement and say, "Oh no, you can't touch me"? And what do you think the legality of this is like? Hey, we're going to see some court dates, or what do you think?
Well, they're definitely going to try to protect themselves and the players. Obviously, I don't believe the coaches are part of that CBA, so they might be out of luck. I'm sure the coaches' contracts have clauses in them, though, if they can be fired for cause, and this would be firing for cause.
Right.
But yeah, as far as the players go, I think that you'll be seeing some suspensions potentially doled out. Ultimately, the person at the top gets blamed typically the most. And, it wasn't like players were in the back beating on trash cans or on computer systems that I know of, but they were utilizing the information. But, ultimately, when you're playing in an organization and they're feeding you information, are you going to say, hold on, I'm not going to listen to that information because I have ethics? Maybe there should have been a whistleblower here, but I don't know that you can necessarily punish the players just for being a part of it. But I would certainly expect to see some potential suspensions. I don't know if we're going to talk about year-long suspensions, but I'm sure the union will not be happy with that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some suspensions as well.
What about your
anybody who hits a homer gets automatically suspended?
Yeah, there you go. Anyone who did anything good. What about your owners in this case? We mentioned the owners, and we had the case a couple of years ago in the NFL where the owner of the Panthers, got caught up in sexual harassment and these kind of scandals, and they did an investigation. They made him sell the team. Now, if you're talking about a guy, the person at the top is the one that needs to, be held responsible. How come Jim Crane is basically getting away with murder? $5 million to a billionaire is like, $150 to me and you. So, what happens or should happen to the owner? Should Jim Crane be forced to sell his team?
Well, think about that. He went and pointed the finger at someone else, right? He's taking the blame off of himself, or at least trying to misdirection there. It's actually a pretty smart move, probably calculated too. Hey, this was them. When I found out about it, I got rid of them immediately. When we saw owners, I think the Clippers owner, end up having to sell and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was more of their actions and, Kraft getting, I don't know what happened to Kraft, what the penalty was there, but I think that's because that's more of their actions. Here, the owner can simply say, I didn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, I told him to win and go for the World Series, but I didn't tell him to cheat, or I didn't condone that. But if they found out that the owner was involved in this, I would imagine the other owners are going to meet and they wouldn't be too happy about that. But generally, these owners stick together.
Yeah, Mark, just to answer your question about Robert Kraft, you know what his penalty was? He won a Super Bowl. So let's keep moving on.
He made more money.
Yeah, he made more money. That was his
Nobody
punishment.
seemed to care when the Patriots. But see, the NFL is so different because I think Goodell's a little bit of a pushover. And it's like this situation with the that we were talking about last week with the Rooney Rule. If you had David Stern, he would say, "Who's hiring Bieniemy? Who's hiring Leftwich?" It's not a question of you're going to interview them; you're going to hire them. So
Right.
Goodell doesn't exactly stand up to the owners; he more or less works for them. So
no, that's why they pay him $30 million a year, so they can tell him what to do. Guys like Jerry Jones can walk into his office and tell him exactly how he's going to handle a situation, which totally different league or whatever. But long term, looking at this, how damaging do you think this is to baseball overall?
It's pretty bad. I mean, you look at all the Dodgers fans sitting there going, "Wow, we did it the right way, and we lost a couple World Series opportunities."
Allegedly did it the right way.
Right. Well, they did it the right way. If they did it the wrong way, wouldn't they have won? Isn't that what happened? I think that we already were seeing a decline in attendance overall in the league, and interest is feigning. You remember, baseball was on its way down when they had that strike. You can't necessarily stomach too many of these type of bad publicity blows. So it could be very bad for the game. People want to know that there's a even playing field, and you hear all those rumors about the NBA being rigged. It didn't necessarily seem to sway people from watching, but that could happen in baseball where numbers are moving in the wrong direction already. But you know what? They'll just legalize betting on baseball, and you can bet in all the parks, and it'll bring it back, right?
Right. I mean, speaking of betting, right? We brought up a good point earlier. What about the fans who bet on these games and lost? I mean, people lost millions, probably, of dollars on this stuff. We saw a couple years ago after the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight when Manny said, I went into this fight hurt, and that's why I lost, and fans tried to organize a class action suit. Could we see something potentially like that where fans get together and say, well, the game was obviously, there was cheating going on. They knew about the cheating. They know about the cheating now. I want my money back. Is there a legal leg to stand on there?
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I mean, now that we have more widespread legalized gambling, I think with the way that the casinos deal with these matters is they just say, sorry, all bets are final, and it affected one side, not the other. But yeah, I mean, you could usually when those lawsuits are brought, you don't see much come of them, but there's potential for that. I mean, people certainly have a right to be upset, and if it costs people money, I mean, I think that's not necessarily part of the bargain, but it's part of the bargain that anything could happen in sports. But back to what I was saying about it, I think that was one of the things that baseball was really after was legalizing gambling, having betting in the stadiums and things like that. And maybe that's more so football. But if they were trying to lean that way, then this could really affect that business because if people don't think the game is potentially rigged, that's going to hurt them.
Oh, yeah. The books would definitely be affected by it. We're talking to Marcus Berg, Mossberg Injury Lawyers, the Legal Zone. So, the timing is just so critical right now with spring training just right around the corner. Do you think this is something that you're just going to have to jump on really quick, or could this even drag on longer into the season?
Well, whenever you're dealing with players and the union, it usually tends to drag on a little bit. I'm sure they have all sights set on getting this disposed of as quickly as possible, but these investigations and suspensions and things tend to drag on sometimes when there's appeals, so we'll see.
Let's turn our attention to an assault case with Odell Beckham Jr. slapping a police officer on the butt in the locker room of LSU after they win a championship, and now there's all this back and forth. I know it's in Louisiana, so it's not really your jurisdiction and everything. How does something like this play out? Does the police officer have a case? I mean, there's video evidence of him getting smacked on the bum.
Yeah, I mean, anytime there's an unwanted touching,
touching.
You've committed a what's that?
No touching.
Yeah, I mean that's a potential crime. That's a potential tort against somebody, which means they could have a civil action. Most of the times these things aren't anything major, but I mean there could potentially be criminal prosecution. There could potentially be civil prosecution. In any civil case, you've got to prove up your damages. You've got to show how this affected you. And, this publicity that's being drawn towards it, that can potentially affect somebody.
Yeah.
It can lead somebody into depression, suicidal thoughts, any sort of thing. The key with all this is you've got to prove your damages. If you're making it up, it's not going to go very far. But if you actually have damages, it could go somewhere. And, generally things like this settle out of court, and we might never hear about how much it's settled for. But, there's definitely a case there, criminal and civil.
Isn't this kind of like in Bad Bosses, the tort that Charlie had against Jennifer Aniston? Like, no, bro, my boss is sleeping with me. Not to say.
It all stems from what I like to call a generation offended by everything. All right, this is a different day and age. You can't do anything. You can't say anything. You can't touch anyone because everything is so serious these days.
But
did you see all the flack that Joe Burrow got for smoking a cigar?
Yeah.
My
God. Does the fact that it was an actual police officer ramp up everything? Because I mean, you just don't touch cops in general.
Yeah, right. You got happy.
I don't even shake hands with cops.
Well, if there's one thing I learned going to school in New Orleans, you do not mess with NOPD. Okay, I've seen people. There's a lot of mounted cops on horses,
yes,
and I've seen people mess with the horse. You do not mess with that. Is like messing with an officer.
Yes,
that's
100%.
a no-no, okay.
Okay.
You touch a horse, that's like touching a cop. So yeah, I mean, now that you say it that way, and now I'm recalling my college days and law school days. Yeah, and this Odell, this could go the wrong way for you.
We were my wife and I. We went to New Orleans. We were on Bourbon Street, and I saw a drunk guy. I think he went to pet the horse. Okay, and he kind of, he was drunk. He kind of smacked the horse on the side. Not hard. Not anything you would look twice at. The cop literally kicked him in the face. And no one did anything. Everyone just walked away.
New Orleans justice.
New Orleans justice.
New Orleans street justice, man.
There's one thing. There's two things you don't do in New Orleans. You do not mess with the police, and you do not pee in public. No public urination. That will get you thrown in jail.
That is that's one of the myths about New Orleans. You always hear people who have never been say, "Oh yeah, people just pee in the streets because it's a big party all the time." No, I also saw a guy on a different trip get tackled.
It smells like pee in the street. It smells like pee in the street, but you do not pee in the street. And you can drink in the streets. That's perfectly fine. But there's nowhere to go to the bathroom. None of the bathrooms are open. You can't get in any of the bars, but you can't pee in the street because you'll go to jail.
Attorney Marcus Berg telling us from experience, do not pee in the streets.
No.
Had a friend.
That's it, counselor. That's it, counselor. Mark, as always, man, where can we find you?
Mossberg Injury Lawyers, 702-222-4555.
All right, man. No urination in the streets. We'll talk to you next week, brother.
No.
Right?
See you guys.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. New Orleans is a tough town, bro. You don't go down there and mess around. That's why it's like it's not that you just slap somebody on the butt. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr., whatever. most people who don't have money would probably bring a lawsuit against him because of injuries or whatever. And I just want to get paid. But he hit a cop.
Yeah.
And it's on video.
Yeah. And you know that you 6 or 7 in.
And we didn't even get to the fact that he was handing wads of cash to NCAA players on the field, on camera, on hundreds of cameras.
Hundreds.
He was giving wads of money to college players.
Because he had stacks.
And you know who gets screwed there? The college kid. The kid is going to get screwed there.
Yeah.
Because he did that.
Well, you heard Joe Burrows. You're like, I'm going pro.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, it was real money. I don't care.
Son. What are you going to do? Take me out of phys ed next year?
Yeah,
I'm done, baby.
I'm going first round.
He pieced up A-Town down and he crip walked out. But for the kids that took the money who are planning to come back next year.
It's like, I gave it back. Is there film of that?
Huh?
What? Well, see what happened
That's a nice chain you got there. Huh?
Well, see, the way my bank account is set up, that when I put it in, I can get it right back out, and it gives a photogenic picture of me taking the money out.
My grandmama took that out and gave it to the Salvation Army.
Mima. You got to have a Mima in your life.
Love Mimas.
You got to have Mima, man. You ain't got a Mima, you ain't living a life. Or Nana. Quan, what do you got? Mima, Nana, what you grow up with?
Oh, grandma.
Grandma? Oh, white boy.
Mama.
Yeah.
I had a mama. White boy.
Yeah, no, Jesus Christ.
But I did have an auntie.
All right. So, yeah.
So the NFL playoffs are this weekend.
They are.
The Packers and your 49ers, Quan, Chiefs and Titans.
Man, talk about.
If we're just looking at it, who would you want that Super Bowl to be?
Well, at this point, I don't want either the 49ers or Green Bay. They're not meeting today. I told you that.
If you had to pick one.
If I had to pick one, I guess it would be the 49ers against KC. I'm going to assume because they played earlier this year. It was a great game.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see that rematch to see if anything happens. It's the two heavyweights. I just don't believe in the Titans. I think the Titans, Derrick Henry, a beast. A beast.
Yes, he is.
Jesus Christ. He's bigger than most offensive linemen.
See, a lot of people are saying Aaron Rodgers and the Packers and everything. Here's how I reason it, man. You can't have Danica Patrick and be in the Super Bowl, man. You got to give one up. And you know what? He ain't going to give up Danica. She seems like a really nice lady. So, I can't have you.
Beer and cheese.
I can't have him frowning in the Super Bowl. I need people that look like they appreciate it. Put the 49ers in there. That defense of the 49ers is something else. And, Garoppolo and all these guys, they're playing their hearts out. Richard Sherman. Talk about a guy who bet on himself.
Yeah.
And looks like a genius now.
Yeah. Stanford what?
Yeah, right.
Right.
So, the 49ers, and I like the Chiefs, man. I like the Chiefs.
I wonder what his contract literally says.
I literally cannot root for the old Houston Oilers.
No, you can't. But one, I know you can't. But, dude, they're not were the Giants when they won? Do people think that the Giants were world beaters, or were they just, Because I really don't remember either of the games that, leading up to it, who they beat to get there. If it was really one of those scenarios, you go like, oh, wow, the Giants won. I can't believe the Giants won. So, I guess the Titans could win.
Hey, remember the Titans. They haven't been since what, 99?
Yeah.
Was 99 the year they went?
Yeah, 99.
Or 2000.
No, 99.
Okay.
99, the
1 yard.
Yeah, the
almost. 1 yard away.
And I was pulling for him that year.
Yeah, that was a crazy thing.
No,
they're kind of due, but at the same time. But I like Andy Reid too, man. I want Andy Reid to at least go to a Super Bowl. Go to a Super Bowl. He went with the Eagles, but win one if you can. Win one for the Gipper.
Which is going to be funny because we talked about win one, and Patrick Mahomes should probably be there at least 10 more years on the Gipper. You said
hey, if the Patriots didn't cheat, maybe Mahomes would have been there. I don't know. Ouch. The Patriots are cheaters.
Ouch. That's just the outline.
Robert Kraft should not be an owner in the NFL.
No, he should not.
He solicited underage sex workers for handies.
Yeah.
So allegedly,
it happened.
And there was video that he suppressed because he's a billionaire, can get away with that. But come on, bro.
He sent the worm out. He sent the worm out and killed it in everyone's phone.
I'm still so salty, man. If they made Jerry Richardson sell the team for his stuff, then how is Robert Kraft still an owner in the NFL?
Yeah, right. It's
because Jerry Jones is his boy.
Oh, come
because
on.
it's a conspiracy
Jerry was
among
on his
white
way.
billionaires.
He was on his way. He said, turn the plane around. Turn the plane around.
Turn it around a midair.
Yeah, we heading to Miami. Oh, no, we're not. We're not going to Miami. We're going to Tennessee. We got to pretend land. We got to pretend
Jerry
land.
was probably headed to that mythical Epstein Island. Anyway, so.
Oh, we're going to
Libel.
jail today.
Libel.
We're going to jail.
Libel.
Oh, my
Allegedly.
God. So we got a great games coming up this weekend, folks.
Yep.
We're going to be posting things all weekend. Let us know who you got. We got a fight coming on. Make sure that you stay tuned for that show, Levels. They're going to be talking about it. Get your picks in with the guys, Cassandra, Jay Long, Quan. He's going to chime in. They got a guest we got tonight.
We got the immortal Matt Brown from the UFC.
See?
He'll be joining us.
Yeah, so it's another great show. You want to stay tuned to us. Stay tuned to the Same Bat channel next week. And after this, it's MP, Jeremy Long. Peace.